Yep, go ahead.
So, Kevin helped me write this. He's at work. So I just wanted to recite a short eulogy. I think it's short. I don't know. I haven't practiced. Graham Higgins. Not our dog. For 8 wonderful years, so much more. Our companion, protector, our brother, and our son. Kevin has a story about Graham where he used to call him the professor, because he would sometimes listen to what any of us would have to say and kind of cock his head to the side like he understood and he was listening and he was attentive. And Kevin says that many times back here in the backyard he would, be wondering about whether he was right or wrong. And so he would tell Graham his worries or his thoughts or his concerns. And Graham would always do that head cocking thing, and if Kevin was wrong, he would just look up at him and get up and walk away. But if Kevin was right, in his human thinking, Graham would wag his tail and come and snuggle with him. And I have my own little story about Graham. Many of you have probably heard this when I talked about Graham myself. But Lacey was the one that gifted me with Graham. And the first time I met Graham, she brought him into the front door of my home in a very small wicker basket. And at the risk of, sounding weird, there was a voice inside of me that said, "That's my dog." But I didn't think anything of it until a few weeks later, when necessity brought about her asking me if I would take the dog. And thereby he became all of ours. Lacey being the first mom and me being the second mom, and
I taught him all his bad habits. You're welcome. No.
So we had many impressions of Graham. Graham the Frisbee King.
Yeah.
All dogs envied him when we would take him for walks or when we would take him to the park, because they knew that he was loved and people were playing with him, and well, he was fucking good at frisbee. And he was also Graham the Magnificent, the way that his ears would flop when he was running and playing frisbee. And he was also Graham the Protector of anything that would bring harm to his people or his home. And that included rogue mailmen, tree ropes. When we fought amongst each other, and Graham seemed to know who the aggressor was, and he wasn't having it, he would get up in the middle of that mess and get loud and get protective. He was Graham the Magnificent. Oh, I already said that. Sorry. And he was Graham the Majestic, in the way that he would lay down, and he would always cross his front paws as if he were a lion, or something bigger than himself. Kevin used to call him the Pransome Hints, because when he would play, he had this way of prancing like a show horse. I called him Graham the Masochist, because he would beat himself up with that big ball, with this ball. And he would grab a hold of it in his mouth and just one side to the other, as if all over the, many of you have probably seen it, but it was the funniest thing I'd ever seen in my life. I remember, speaking of Protector, he had this one specific bark, right? And that was for rakes, lawnmowers, leaf blowers, and shovels. But he always had unending patience with all of us, and especially me. When I went through such hard times, and I wasn't watching him, and I wasn't playing frisbee, but he was there. Always, always, always. Sometimes he would lay down next to me, and he knew that he wanted to be doing something else, but he would lay next to me, and he would go. Cross his paws. But to me, he was energy. And the best kind of energy that any of us know. And we all gain something from this simple yet complex animal that graced all of our lives with his love and his understanding. And for that, each and every one of us will be eternally blessed. And he had a good life. And what more could any of us ask for? But just a little more time with Graham. So do you, Graham. Wherever you are. And we honor you. And we love you. And thank you. And I thank all of you.